Barry Jenkins discusses his approach to Mufasa, the Lion King, and his relationship with CGI filmmaking. Barry Jenkins, the celebrated director best known for his evocative and emotionally rich storytelling in films such as Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk, is stepping into unfamiliar territory with his latest project, Mufasa, the Lion King. This film, a sequel to Disney's 2019 live-action reimagining of the 1994 animated classic The Lion King, is set for release on December 20. The film continues the visual tradition of its predecessor, using cutting-edge computer-generated imagery, CGI, to bring to life the characters of the African savanna. While The Lion King was touted as a live-action film, it was largely animated using photorealistic CGI. Mufasa, however, takes this approach even further, relying entirely on digital animation to recreate the story of Mufasa's rise to power. Yet despite the film's impressive technological scope, Jenkins, a director renowned for his use of naturalistic lighting, intimate camera work, and grounded performances, has openly expressed his reservations about working in the CGI world. Jenkins' filmmaking style has always been about connecting with real people, real environments, and creating genuine moments of emotion. So, when the opportunity to direct Mufasa arose, Jenkins found himself grappling with both the creative and technological challenges of taking on a fully CGI'd animated film. As a director whose films often explore deep human experiences, the move to digital animation and the world of photorealism seemed like a departure from everything Jenkins had known and loved about filmmaking. When he was first offered the job, Jenkins admits that he had significant doubts about whether he was the right person for such a high-profile CGI project. When I took this job, the idea was, what does Barry Jenkins know about visual effects? Why the hell would he do this movie? Jenkins reflected in an interview with Vulture. He was acutely aware of the public perception of him as a filmmaker known for intimate dramas, exploring human relationships, and crafting films that prioritized realness and emotional depth. Stepping into the world of digital effects and animated animals was something that initially seemed outside of his wheelhouse. Moreover, he knew that many people would question his decision to take on a project that on paper seemed to stray so far from his typical filmmaking style. However, Jenkins did not let this discourage him. Instead, he found the challenge of being underestimated to be motivating. In fact, part of what drew him to the project was the chance to prove that a filmmaker like himself, who hadn't worked with CGI before, could handle a project of this scale. I think part of that I found very invigorating, Jenkins said. People make these things, with computers, so anybody should be able to do this. Anybody, right? There's nothing physically that says I am incapable of doing this. In many ways, Jenkins saw Mufasa as an opportunity to push himself creatively and to take on a challenge that he would not have been able to tackle earlier in his career. It became a test of his own abilities, a chance to step outside the boundaries of his previous work and explore new filmmaking techniques. He didn't want to be boxed into a particular genre or medium, and he was determined to take on this monumental task with the same energy and focus that had defined his previous films. At the same time, Jenkins knew that taking on such a big-budget, technologically advanced film could also provide practical benefits. For one, the project offered him a chance to work on a consistent schedule in Los Angeles, where he and his wife, fellow filmmaker Lulu Wang, who directed The Farewell, had made their home. In recent years, Jenkins had been constantly traveling between different locations to work on various projects, leading to a sense of instability and burnout. He felt the pressure to slow down and create some balance in his life, both professionally and personally. "I needed to slow down when I walk out the door," he wrote, "and 3 days in New York for friends and family, and I sat down to think about what I was going to do. I needed to slow the F down," he said, acknowledging the toll that the demanding pace of his career had been craving, which was vital to him being the father he wanted to be. However, despite the practical benefits, Jenkins almost turned down the opportunity altogether when Disney first sent him the script. "When Disney first sent me the script, my thought was, oh, "I'll just give this a few days and I'll call my agent and tell them I've read it and I'm not going to do this project," Jenkins admitted. He initially dismissed the project as something outside his realm of interest, especially given the scale of CGI and the legacy of The Lion King. But after a vacation with his wife, he returned to the script and was reminded that he hadn't made a decision yet. His wife, sensing that there might be something more to the project than he was letting on, asked him a seemingly simple question: "Are you afraid to read it?" Jenkins paused at her question. It made him reconsider his knee-jerk response and decide to give the script a proper chance. He promised himself that he would only read 5 pages to get a sense of whether it was something worth pursuing. But as he began reading, he quickly became engrossed in the narrative. "I read 50 pages! This is good! Holy shit!" Jenkins recalled, astonished by the quality of the writing. He was so captivated by the script that he turned to his wife and excitedly told her, "Okay, I think I'm going to do this." This was a pivotal moment in Jenkins' journey with Mufasa. Despite his initial doubts, he recognized that the script offered something unexpected, an opportunity to explore themes of family, power, and legacy, all set against the backdrop of a world he had never worked in before. It was a challenge he couldn't resist. As he dove deeper into the project, Jenkins quickly realized that the process of bringing Mufasa to life was going to be much more difficult than he had imagined. The film is entirely computer-generated, relying on sophisticated CGI to create the animals and landscapes that make up the world of The Lion King. This method of filmmaking, while groundbreaking, was a significant departure from Jenkins' usual approach, which is centered around tangible sets, physical performances, and a more naturalistic filmmaking style. He found that working with CGI, where the characters are animated in a computer rather than existing in a physical space, was an alien experience. "It is not my thing," Jenkins confessed about the process of creating a digital world. "I want to work the other way again, where I want to physically get everything there." For Jenkins, filmmaking has always been about working with the real world, the people in front of the camera, the environment around them, and the light that illuminates them. He believes that the best moments come when everything comes together naturally, without relying on digital manipulation or artificial environments. "I always believe that what is here is enough, and let me just figure out what is the chemistry to make alchemy," Jenkins explained. This is what has always driven his work, finding the right combination of people, light, space, and emotion to create something real and transformative. The digital nature of Mufasa posed a significant challenge to this philosophy, but Jenkins accepted the task of figuring out how to integrate his vision into the world of CGI. Despite these challenges, Jenkins worked diligently to make Mufasa a film that still carried his unique artistic voice. While the film's technological aspects may have felt foreign to him at first, he found ways to bring emotional depth to the digital world. The characters in Mufasa may be computer-generated, but the story is one that Jenkins believes in. The emotional stakes of the film, dealing with legacy, family, and identity, remain central to Jenkins' approach. Even as he faced the steep learning curve of working with CGI, he never lost sight of the human elements that have defined his best work. As the release of Mufasa the Lion King draws closer, Jenkins is preparing to introduce audiences to his take on the iconic world of the Lion King. For Jenkins, this is a bold leap into uncharted territory, one that will likely surprise many who associate him with smaller, more intimate films. But at its core, Mufasa is not just about cutting-edge technology. It's about storytelling, and Jenkins' ability to craft rich, emotionally resonant narratives, even in the realm of digital animation. With Mufasa the Lion King hitting theaters on December 20, audiences will see Jenkins' creative touch on a beloved franchise. For Jenkins, this project is not just a foray into CGI filmmaking, but a reminder that he can push the boundaries of his craft and grow as a storyteller. In the end, Mufasa may be a fully animated film, but it is still very much a Barry Jenkins film, infused with his artistic sensibilities and dedication to telling stories that resonate deeply with audiences.